Welcome to Tyrone Bowman tonight. I'm Tyrone Bowman, and we are live, as you can see, on YouTube this evening. Before I get started, I would like to say to all of my YouTube subscribers and those who have been viewing Tyrone Bowman tonight in general. For the past couple of weeks, we've had a problem with the audio, and we're trying to get this problem fixed as quickly as possible. So please bear with us. I think there are about maybe 10 plus videos that we recorded recently, and there is no audio sound with them. I assure you that's not on purpose. Unfortunately, we've had a major problem. So it is with a sad and heavy heart that I have to talk about this on this evening, but this is important news. The Queen of Rock and Roll, Tina Turner, who has been a fixture, an iconic fixture, a pioneer for such a long time in the music industry, has died. She was 83 years of age. So I'm going to be talking about Tina Turner on this evening, and probably some other things, but I think this particular broadcast I'll just dedicate it to in her memory. I was doing some research earlier today, before I came live on air tonight, and I perused through the Washington Post, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and I saw this article as reported by CNN tonight, and I'm going to quote it in its entirety. Quote, Tina Turner, resilient singer hailed as the queen of rock and roll, dies at 83. Tina Turner, the dynamic rock and soul singer who rose from humble beginnings and overcame a notoriously abusive marriage to become one of the most popular female artists of all time, has died. Her family announced she was 83. Pardon me, I have to clean my glasses here. They're somewhat foggy. This is live, so I don't have any room for editing anything out. And I have always admired Tina Turner for a very, very long time, for her grace, her dignity, her strength. I admired her. I read the book entitled I, Tina, and it was a heart-wrenching story to read. I also saw the movie. I didn't like the movie. I saw it once, and I vowed that I would never watch that movie again. Thank you for being patient. So let's talk about the one and only Tina Turner on Tyrone Bowman tonight. So Turner died Wednesday at her home in Kasnach near Zurich, Switzerland. With her, the world loses a music legend and a role model, her family said. With her music and her boundless passion for life, she enriched millions of fans around the world and inspired the stars of tomorrow. Today we say goodbye to a dear friend who leaves us all her greatest work, her music. All our heartfelt compassion goes out to her family. Tina, we will miss you dearly. A statement on her verified Facebook page read. And to the entire family of Tina Turner, and this is not, I know people say this a lot. I don't know if they mean it or not, but I would sincerely be praying for you, for the memory of Tina, and for the entire family as you go through this process of mourning and grieving. A riveting live performer, Tina had a string of R&B hits in the 1960s and early 70s with her dominating and violent husband, Ike Turner, before she left him, fleeing their Dallas hotel room with 36 cents. Her solo career floundered for years before she mounted a stunning comeback in 1984. And her multi-platinum album Private Dancer and its #1 hit, What's Love Got to Do With It? Before long, Tina was a global superstar commanding MTV with her spiky wigs, short skirts, and famously long legs strutting across concert stages in 3-inch heels. Her talent earned her acclaim as the queen of rock and roll, while her resiliency made her a hero to battered women everywhere. When she sang of pain and heartache in her husky, full throated voice, every word rang true. For a long time, I felt like I was stuck with no way out of the unhealthy situation I was in, she told Harvard Business Review in 2021. But then I had a series of encounters with different people who encouraged me. And once I could see myself clearly, I began to change, opening the way to confidence and courage. It took years, but finally I was able to stand up for my life and start anew. She was born Anna Mae Bullock in 1939 to poor sharecroppers near Nutbush, Tennessee, a rural community north of Mississippi, that she later made famous in her autobiographical song Nutbush City Limits. She spent her early years living with her grandmother after her parents split. We weren't in poverty, we had food on the table. We just didn't have fancy things like bicycles, Turner said in a 2005 interview with Oprah Winfrey. We were church people, so on Easter, we got all done up. I was very innocent and didn't know much else. I knew the radio, B.B. King, country, and western, Turner said. That's about it. I didn't know anything about a star until the white people allowed us to come down and watch their television once a week. Following the death of her grandmother in the 1950s, Turner and her sister Ruby moved to St. Louis, Missouri to live with their mother. It was in St. Louis that she began to visit some of the local clubs and met musician Ike Turner, whose band, Kings of Rhythm, were popular in the area. He recruited her at age 17 to join his band as a singer. Ike had to come to the house and ask Ma if it was okay for me to sing with him. He knew I had the potential to be a star. We were close, like brother and sister, Turner told Winfrey. On his off nights, we drive around town and he would tell me about his life, his dreams. He told me that when he was young, people found him unattractive. That really hurt him. I felt bad for him. I thought, I'll never hurt you, Ike. I meant it. He was so nice to me then, but I did not see the other side of him, meaning Ike Turner. She began performing as Tina Turner, and in 1960, they formed the Ike and Tina Turner Review. The relationship evolved, and their son Ronnie was born at that same year. They married in 1962 and raised 4 children, including 2 children from Ike's previous relationships, and Tina's son Craig, also from a previous relationship. Thin-skinned and mercurial, Ike Turner would fly into fits of rage at the slightest provocation. She said, adding that he would hit her with whatever was available: coat hangers, telephones, and a wooden stretcher, his fist. Often, she said, he'd even beat her before they went on stage. He hit me in the ribs and then always tried to give me a black eye. He wanted his abuse to be seen. That was the shameful part, Tina told Winfrey. Tina sang lead on most of their songs with the help of female backup singers, while her husband remained in the background, usually on guitar. Their musical partnership yielded a string of R&B hits, including A Fool in Love, Nutbush City Limits, and Proud Mary, their 1971 cover of Creedence Clearwater Revival song, which reached number 4 on the pop charts and won them a Grammy. But off stage, their marriage remained tumultuous, fueled in part by Ike Turner's cocaine addiction. Another night, we had a fight in the dressing room, and when I went on stage, my face was swollen, she told Winfrey. I think my nose was broken because blood was gushing into my mouth when I sang. Before, I've been able to hide under makeup, but you can't hide swelling. She stuck with Ike Turner for more than a decade, terrified of his temper and determined not to abandon him like others had. But things came to a head in July 1976, When they flew to Dallas for a show, Turner wrote in her book that after a flight on the airplane, her husband began hitting her in a car on the way to their hotel. While he slept, she stepped out of their room carrying only a mobile credit card and 36 cents, a quarter, a dime, and a penny. She fled across a busy highway to a motel where a sympathetic clerk saw her bloodied face and gave her a room. She then called the lawyer she knew, who arranged for a friend to pick her up and put her on an airplane back to Los Angeles. After my plane landed in California, my heart was in my ears. I was afraid Ike would be there because when I left once before, he tracked me down on a bus, she told Oprah. So when I got off that plane, I ran like mad. I said to myself, if he's here, I'm going to scream for the police. And I had one chant in my head: I will die before I go back. By then, a friend had introduced Turner into Buddhism and its practice of chanting, which she credited with giving her the strength to leave her husband. Raised Baptist, Turner embraced Buddhism, wholeheartedly in middle age, and said, she embraced Buddhism wholeheartedly in middle aged, and said its teachings changed her life. I came to understand that any achievement stems from inner change, she told Harvard Business Review. The more I studied Buddhist principles, the deeper I dug within myself and cleaned up whatever attitudes or habits were standing in my way. She and Ike were formally divorced in 1978 after a long legal battle. She wrote in her book that he retained most of the earnings and assets they had earned as a couple. Well, that's sad. While she cared for their 4 sons, the divorce almost ruined her financially, and for the next few years, Turner performed on TV specials and in Las Vegas as she struggled to rebuild her career. Her comeback gained momentum after she hired Australian manager Roger Davis in 1979. Rod Stewart invited her to perform Hot Legs with him on Saturday Night Live. 2 years later, in 1983, her cover of Al Green's Let's Stay Together became a hit in England. Then came Private Dancer, which spawned 3 top 10 hits, won her 3 Grammys, and eventually sold more than 10 million copies. Although she didn't like the song at first and had to be talked into recording it, What's Love Got to Do with It made her, at 44, the oldest female artist to score a #1 hit. In 1985, at the peak of her powers, she sang on the all-star charity single We Are the World, performed with Mick Jagger at the historic Live 8 concerts, and co-starred in Mel Gibson's post-apocalyptic film, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, scoring another hit with We Don't Need Another Hero, a song from the movie. The next year, Turner chronicled her early career and abusive marriage in a best-selling memoir, I, Tina, which was adapted into a hit 1993 film, What's Love Got to Do with It, starring Angela Bassett. The hit albums, singles, and sold-out concerts continued throughout the late 80s and 90s. And Turner remained a popular live act well into the new millennium, especially in England. Turner moved to Switzerland in the 1990s with German boyfriend Erwin Bach, an executive for her record company. He was 16 years younger. The pair married in 2013 after a 27-year romantic relationship, and in 2022 bought a $76 million estate on Lake Zurich. I pay taxes here in the U.S. My family is here, she told CNN's Larry King in 1997. I left America because my biggest success was in another country, and my boyfriend was in another country. Europe has been very supportive of my music. Ike and Tina Turner were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1991, and she was inducted as a solo artist in 2021. Tina, a musical based on her life story, opened on Broadway in 2018. Turner is preceded in death by her two sons, Craig, who died in 2018, and Ronnie in 2022. Some of the happiest moments in my life were the birth of my beautiful baby boys, Craig and Ronnie, and marrying my partner and soulmate, Erwin Bach. She told NBC's Today Show in 2021. One of my early career goals, professionally, she said her happiest moment were performing live. One of my early career goals was to become the first black woman to fill stadiums around the world. She told NBC. At the time, it seemed impossible, but I never gave up, and I'm so happy I made that dream come true. Our sister, rest in peace. I'm Tyrone Bowman. Never surrender, never quit.